All right, welcome back to another conversation. It's an entrepreneurial dialogue built simply to add depth to your business. I hope that I'm Brandon Farr, and we were having a series of conversations built on the business principles that have guided me to this point in my career. We've measured success as a contracting company. Um, get asked to consult in tech space as well because come to realize that the mechanics of projects and people are really aligned across sectors. And what I'm sharing with you is when I say the second part, it's in a series of conversations. We started talking about customer relationships, interactions, orienting yourself to the customer. Last conversation went through the PQC DSM, which is a lean manufacturing principle and understanding value. Productivity, quality, cost, delivery time, safety, and morale. If you understand how you orient to the market, you can also understand how your clients in the market orients towards you and find alignment, because you won't be all things to all people, but you're going to have a sweet spot, and it's really our opportunity to own our space so that we can deliver the best product possible for our clients. Okay. Something we didn't touch on yesterday, our last conversation rather, was the positioning your services at the point of need. And this is something I didn't realize in the very beginning. We're going to start to get into segmenting your clients, and whether you're selling to individual people or whether you're selling to businesses, positioning your services at the point of need is a really valuable nuance. And if we look at Coke as an example, I mean Coke because it's a commodity. This is that when you go to 7-Eleven, you're paying a lot more for that Coca-Cola. It's over $1 now. Let's say it's $1.50 a can. I'm in Canada, but whatever it is wherever you are. And then you imagine going to the superstore and the wholesale, whatever you're doing, and you buy a whole flat of them, and it's 25 cents a can if you buy it by the flat. It's cold, it's over there on the shelf, you put it in the bug, you take it home, you drink it at your convenience, versus it's a hot day, you go to the convenience store, and you get that can, as distinct from even you're at the stadium, you're in the park, and you have a vending machine, and you put your loonies and quarters in there. We don't have paper dollar bills up here, but it's and the price of that can be $1.75 for that can of Coke, or much more. And it's really an interesting relation. It's the same product, but what has changed is my relationship to that product based on my perception of need. At the grocery store, I'm not thirsty yet. When it's a hot day, I'm thirsty, so I'm willing to pay a premium. Plus, they've refrigerated it and it's ready for me. And I just need the one. I don't need to. I could buy 25 and carry them around, or 24 in a flat and carry them around, or I can just buy the one and drink it and enjoy it. And it's just this powerful opportunity for us to understand that we could be selling the same thing as other people, cans of pop, or whether it be graphic design services, or plumbing, or electrical, or framing, or even food products. And if we're attentive to where we position our services, it can mean that we're selling the same thing as everybody else for a much different price, either higher or lower. If you're interested in selling a lot of things at the superstore for low price, is probably the best way to do it, because you're selling units of 24 at a time. But if you're interested in selling something that's truly exceptional, right in front of you when you need it, you can sell it for a premium. But you're selling one or two at a time, and it's a different model with different opportunity. And I can tell you that we've oriented our services as I don't want to be a high volume contracting service. I want it to be a bit of a boutique contracting service. I've realized that I can make the same amount of money at the end of the year, whether I'm doing lots of low profit jobs or a couple of high profit jobs. The difference is I have a lot more time flexibility if I'm not running around all day chasing volume. And there's also another risk of every time you work, you're taking on risk. And I remember this on our journey to becoming specialty concrete repair contractors. And there's a time, Unlimited Contracting is the company. We were the leading concrete specialty repair service in the Okanagan Valley where we're from. We were also the #1 ranked Google contractor on online. So if you typed in contractor Kelowna, it's like unlimited contracting was at the top of the list. I didn't do any web promotion or anything like that. Which is an interesting thing. Anyway, we'll get into that. I'm coming back here. So, developing the specialty repair contracting. I just want to make sure because I feel like I've lost my thought on that. So, what was present for me in the moment there was I realized that we're #1 ranked on Google. That's fine. This is a bit of a deviation. We'll come back. Anytime I got a phone call from the internet, people would say, "I looked me up on like an email or a phone call, and I found you online. And can you quote?" My answer was always no, which is a bit of a contradiction. Everyone aspires. They'll spend lots of money on SEO optimization to become #1 on Google. I was, and I turned down every client that ever called me, every single one, because they weren't my client profile. I had oriented our services in such a way that I knew who my clients were. And that really allowed me to say no. And no creates space. Yes creates tension and risk. And this is coming back to what I was saying, is that I was at the World of Concrete in Vegas, which is a brilliant show. And there was lots of really smart people there. And I was privileged to learn from others who have come before me, is realizing that every time you go to work, you take on risk. You can't avoid that. And his answer was, it's better to not go to work than to go to work for no money and take on risk, because then at least, like, if you take on risk, you're potentially going backwards, and you never want to work for free. And one of the things that he spoke of is that contractors and clients and businesses that come in and they almost market themselves at sub cost. If the trade rate's $35 an hour, they come in at 25, and they're going to go bankrupt at some point. So just get out of their way, and you don't need to work. You don't need to work for less than the cost of doing business. And you don't need to work for clients that'll treat you that way. I would have been about 27, 28 at the time, 28 maybe, and it was like, really? I don't need to say yes to every client? And oh yeah, like, I do have to go back and fix things that don't go right if I didn't do it properly, or if an employee didn't do it properly. And it allowed me to go, whoa, I don't want to just work for everybody, and I don't just want to work all the time. I know lots of friends, especially friends in trade, they just want to be busy. You go to the trade, hey, you busy? Yeah, you're busy. And busy is like the currency of ego flex in business. And I'm like, most of the time, because I work 5, 6, 7 months of the year maximum kind of thing. And that wasn't on purpose. That's just how it worked cyclically. Which meant that I had lots of time off to pursue education, and World of Concrete was an extension of that. You spend some money, go learn, got a couple of certifications, and come back with a new kind of world-class understanding about how in that case concrete works. Concrete doesn't have to crack. Just tell you that. Concrete cracks because somebody placed it, they did a bad job. But anyways, things like this. And so we could come back and offer higher quality repair solutions to our very specific clientele that really appreciated the quality of our service, because they had something to lose if it didn't go well, which is how we started to understand that our target clients are businesses. Most of the time, it's interesting, your relationship with money is, are you spending somebody else's money? You didn't have to work as hard for the budget, so then you have to work really hard for your own finances, and sweat equity. So if you're going to spend your money on the weekend, you know what it costs you to get that money during the work week. Whereas if you're responsible for maintaining facilities or businesses or properties on behalf of somebody else, you have a different relationship with that money, but you also have different pressure. The pressure that you're under as a property manager or maintenance superintendent is to get the work done, because the business has a priority to be in business, to remain productive. We need to get our product out, which is why, hey, I can come in after hours, so you don't have to shut down your operations, your office, whatever. I'll come in after hours so you can maintain business, because downtime's super expensive in their business and yours, which is why time is that currency that I trade. Going back, timeliness is the generosity of kings. I mean, my focus is never on dollars, it's always on time, at least internally. We still have to communicate dollars, but the value add for me is respecting people's time. And if we can use higher quality products that get cured quicker and have better durability because they're either applied properly or they're going to last longer, so the maintenance cycles are less frequent and the risk of failure. If you move an assembly line to repair the floor and then you put the assembly line back and that fails, the it's not a free expense. So the responsibility I felt in our business was to do it properly and do it the first time, do it right, and do it so it wouldn't break. Plus, this is just true for me. I hate warranty work. I hate having to go back and redo something that I did. You don't get paid for that, and you have to undo it and redo it. It's like the ultimate worst case scenario in my world is warranty work, because clients will pay you to do something properly once. They're pissed, and they will not pay you to do it a second time, and you have to pay for it a second time. So I learned early on that warranty work isn't something I would tolerate in our organization, so I worked very, very hard to build quality control metrics throughout. Quality control internally, also communication strategies to loop clients in, to de-risk my project along the way. It has worked out really well for us because here's how contractors can delude themselves. You start your project it's a 3-week project, and you start it on Monday the 1st, and you're going to be done on Friday the 21st. Okay. And you scramble to get it all done, and whatever. Look, we're all done. Everyone packs up and leaves. And then there's like 7 service calls. I think there's 2 service calls. Back for a day to look at it. Then you got to send somebody to fix it. Not quite done right. They found another thing. And 4 or 5 visits back to site. Well, if September 1st is when you started, October 17th is when you're finally done. You're late. Like, you don't say you're finished on time. You might have packed up and ran out of the building on the 21st, but you're not done. Done is done. Done is clean and finished. So be honest with yourself. And this is in the web. This is the worst in the web space, because everyone's like, oh yeah, graphic design, website design, IT software, app development, we'll be done. You got, if you're smart, you have burn down charts, because it's an agile, project management process in the IT space for dynamic environments where products are unseen and are really being invented in the ether of code. It works well, but finished is when the product is launchable. And you need to really be honest with yourself about that. So anyways, warranty work just doesn't work for us as a company. I will innovate rigorously to ensure that we never have to do it, which means I will gladly pay extra for better product, because people, that's $10 more expensive a unit. I'm like, yeah, but its bond strength is twice as high. And I'm thinking about the service call, and trust me, that service call will cost me more than 5 units times $10 or $50. Like to the tune of thousands of dollars saved on a couple $100 of materials. Those are just decisions we made. Again, time, and if you have better materials and you control time, you take your 3-week projection and you can do it in 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks with quality throughout. You can't say we got done early and then spend all this service. But if you get it done early, well, you still quoted to include this overhead, these wages, this extra week becomes just pure profit, which is how, that's instantly more profitable for the project. That's how we did it. Our emphasis was on time, and we earned money in the process. I can tell you that works all over the place, but it's just how we oriented our business. So then thinking about clients as well, and I think this is an important nuance. When you're talking about your clients, you need to see where they're oriented in the marketplace and what their points of pain are, was what they would say in the business, but it's more like opportunity to serve them. I think points of pain sets up this weird dynamic and battle, and also my clients aren't victims, so I don't tend to think of them that way. I try to understand the pressures they're under, because they are humans in complex environments, and they are subject to pressure. And some of these people out there are subject to a lot of cost scrutiny. Well, we're not the cheapest out there. So I know that those clients, those property managers in this case, wouldn't be people that we would work for. There wouldn't be alignment, because we'll be fast, we'll be the best quality, we'll be the most respectful, we won't be swearing on site, we can work in delicate environments, we're in HACCP certified facilities, we can do all that, but we're not going to be the cheapest. And if they have a particular manager or upper manager that is that has a fixation on dollars, they're going to be under pressure that will put tension on our relationship. So it just doesn't work. No problem. I'd rather know that up front than to try to sell my services to somebody that's not in alignment. Again, because I know who we are. I want to find clients who value who we are, because then we respect who they are, and that's where that linking comes in. And thinking about some of those things, red flags for me. And this is a really interesting. I developed this intuitively over the years, because I get called from time to time. Hey, would you come consider a project, even if it's a general contractor or a professional client on behalf of somebody? Yeah, no problem. Tell me a little bit about what you're looking for. And a red flag for me, honestly, is if they start quickly in the conversation with 3 quotes. Oh, we're just trying to get a quote for the, hey, can we come get you to quote, would be something they would say. I'd be awesome, perfect. So do you have any other quotes you're looking at? Yeah, we got 3 other. We're just looking for, not my client. Because when you get that many people or that many quotes, you're looking for the lowest price. And you probably don't know, that client probably doesn't have discernment on the type of quality they're looking for, or they've tried to segment things down so much. They'll send me a spec sheet on it's exactly this, ordered from this company at this. It's like, there's no opportunity to innovate here, and I'm not going to try to do it for the cheapest price possible. That's just, sorry, you're emphasizing something that doesn't align for us. Whereas if a client says, hey, we're looking for you to come quote this, awesome, perfect, you got any quote? It's like, yeah, I got a couple of referrals, and we're reaching out. I'm like, okay, so this is a referral base. There's a relationship here. It's about trust, as distinct from, I don't care who you are, I don't care where you come from, I haven't asked about the quality of your work, but are you the cheapest? If they're looking for a portfolio, can you show me some other stuff that you've done? Or if they're looking for, or if they're calling from a reference, those are green lights for me, as distinct from the red light of how cheaply can you do this. The other one is how quickly can you get it here. That's like timeliness, because we emphasize time. As a business, I don't want my time wasted. Whether or not you care about time doesn't matter. Doesn't impact me. When I show up to your project, we agree on a price. I tell you my timeline. I care about timeliness, so I'm going to emphasize time and try to get done at least early. At least on time. I'm definitely going to focus on being early, because there's just more opportunity for us there. But if I find a client, it's like, hey, listen, something's come up. I need help with it. Is there any chance you can get down here? It's a crazy deadline. We need it done by next Thursday. And I'm like, okay. Now we're moving in the right direction, because especially if they were referred to us by somebody as, you might be able to help us on this timeline. Like that's what we do. We want to solve meaningful problems in an expedient fashion. So that's just me opening the door a little bit, so you can see inside of how we've oriented our clients. So I've tried to break that down for us here in terms of different work profiles, and I'm just attentive to time. We might have to do this one in the next. You know what? We talked about portfolio referencing. Yeah, okay, we're going to do it because we're in it. So when I'm talking about clients and client profiles, whether they're business or consumer, that's fine. But I want to also understand work profiles and the type of work that we do and the way that the clients are talking to us. So work can fall into 4 general categories. This is, again, an intuitive understanding. I distilled this over time. It's not in the textbook somewhere. This is in a textbook somewhere. Is the work optional? Is it necessary but not urgent? Is it reoccurring work, or is it necessary and urgent? Very, very, very distinct. I'm going to just fast forward to respect your time. I prioritize reoccurring and necessary urgent work. That's our business. There is so much time wasted in optional work. Optional work. It's like, hey, I was thinking, get a quote to paint our living room. I've been thinking about painting it for the last 5 years. The kids are always bugging us. Or my grandpa would, need a car, and he's like, I need a new car, but I'll make this one work. And so when he goes to the car dealer, he would never go to a car dealership. What am I saying? A used car lot. He's kicking tires. There's no necessary need for him to buy that. It's purely optional. And my goodness, you can waste so much time on kicking tires. And if the work is optional in nature, we're probably not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So I'm going to run through, we got optional, necessary, and non-urgent, reoccurring, and necessary. So I put on the hat of a landscaper, and I'm going to run through some general examples. And I'd love you to imagine some in your space too, because as a landscaper, an optional thing is like put in a garden. If I do it this year, great. If I do it next year, great. If I do it in 4 years, great. Not urgent, nothing's necessary about that. Now a necessary but non-urgent thing might be like putting in a pond, or even more, putting in a little retaining wall. You know, things are starting to tilt a little bit. That wood beam retaining wall that's starting to rot. You know, things, but it's been leaning for 5 years now. Do I get it this year or get it next year? No big deal. But it's time. It's coming. Non-urgent, necessary. If you're a landscaper, reoccurring work is like cutting grass or shrubs. This is brilliant, and this is where I would deviate and go. You can find yourself in a value-costed relationship with a client. You don't have to make a killing every time you cut the grass, because you end up cutting the grass often. You have a repeat client, and the reoccurring piece, you can start to develop systems and optimize your system on the grass that's reoccurring. So there's value in that. So that's where you can start to come down in your price point, and then build efficiency into your business model. Because cutting the grass, you can build $1 million business of grass cutting, because it's reoccurring. Shrubbery, snow removal, things like this. And depending upon your climate, it'll dictate what's necessary. And again, moving into necessary and urgent as a landscaper is a retaining wall collapse. You know, like, oh, that little retaining wall that has now cascaded into the neighbor's yard. I was asked to go to a couple of retaining wall repairs, both of them because vehicles went over, car accidents, you know, and they went through the yard and came over the retaining wall and dragged the retaining wall down, and like all the things. Like it was like, we need to fix this, and we need to fix this now. Yeah, so then it's like, can you do quality work quickly, safely? Yes, absolutely. And then if we were to put on a painter's hat and run through these again, I just want to give you some context, because there's so many limitations to me talking to a monitor, and I want you to experience value and the reciprocity of this. So again, just framing it, if you're a painter, you know, painting the living room, I said that as an optional thing. Necessary but not urgent work would be like painting for a general contractor. A general contractor builds a high-rise tower, they got 30 condos. They're going to need you to paint. Well, it's necessary, but it's not urgent, because they're taking tenders in the spring and they're going to be at paint 15 months later. And they might take your quote now, they might try to find somebody cheaper later. Things might change in the process. I'm probably not going to spend a ton of time quoting that. That's not, it's like there's no urgency to it. And I know that the cost will probably drive the decision-making process at the end, unless I have a long-standing relationship where like, we need you because this is super important. I'm willing to wait for the work. I just don't feel like those non-urgent environments create complexity where people are able to change their mind and deviate from the plan. So it's and they're holding the keys at this point. So there's a lot that can take place behind the scenes, and that amounts to potentially wasted time for us in our business. So then reoccurring would be like apartments. Reoccurring painting is like apartments, maintenance. You know, so fence need to be painted every 2 years, or the hallways need to be painted every season. Line painting on roads. Thinking through the lens of painters, paint that wears out that needs to be redone. Is it critical? No. Like your grass cutting, if it happens on Monday or Wednesday, nothing's critical about it, but it always happens. You can build a business around that. But it's understanding what parts of your talent, if you're a painter, are the reoccurring elements, and then finding clients that possess the authority to administer that work and aligning yourself with them. But brilliant. And what I like about the reoccurring piece is you can get really, really good at doing the same thing in different contexts, different apartments, but doing the same thing over and over again, and develop this reliability and trust thing that is super, super important. And then again, there's opportunity for you to innovate in your business and, you know, drive down your internal costs while still delivering the same high quality product. That's a valuable business model. As distinct from a necessary and urgent painting would be like painting an apartment between tenants. They moved out on the 30th and we got a new person coming in on the 1st, and what can you do? And can you get in here? And oh my goodness, they wrecked the place and all the things. Or when a house gets sold and it needs to be like, these are things necessary and urgent. that really matter. And if you're a graphic designer, this is in the digital space, necessary and urgent and reoccurring are where you want to be. I'm thinking about in the digital space, whether you're doing marketing, web design, communications, reoccurring is a powerful thing. So finding client profiles like real estate agents, that people that do multiple business like transactions over and over and over again are super, super valuable. Like real estate agent, property management, they're constantly doing publishings, they're constantly needing to update things, they're doing promotions. These are your people because they're doing lots of business that you can assist in them doing. Another thing is restaurants. And real estate agents and restaurants are powerful because they can also be necessary and urgent too, because when a restaurant does a seasonal change for their menus, a beautiful client profile for me if I was in the graphic space would be restaurants and real estate agents, and restaurants in particular, because they need to, it's a very competitive market. They need to look good to their customers. They care about their image and their content. And the seasons, Christmas season is very different than summer drink days at McDonald's. It's like, or is it Lobster Fest, or like there's a cycle and a momentum that you can say, hey, I can meet you there, I can see you, get your messaging, be your brand hub, and develop a relationship that matures over time. And then talk about building a moat in a business is understanding the seasonality, but also the urgency of these things. And I mean, just my goodness, like what a powerful little business model, because then you get all the best elements of the reoccurring, because springtime and fall time come every year, so there's the reoccurring model, but you add the urgency, and it's like they can't see themselves with any other people because you're just the best. And that like client psychology is a deeper look than just simply looking at personas and B2B models and things like that. And my hope is that when you consider your business, you'll be able to see where you're oriented, where you're naturally oriented, see potential clients that would align with you, the values-based clients, but then also try to find those people that care about the things that you care about, but have the psychology or the need for reoccurring and potentially necessary and urgent work. Okay, we covered some ground. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm enjoying these conversations, and I look forward to seeing where this goes. This is a beautiful, complex, and creative world we live in, and I'm glad that we're sharing this time. All the best.